What's good, Grand Line crew? We got another deck profile coming at you today. Today's something special. We got what I've been running around with, been enjoying it. It's not too expensive of a deck either, but definitely gratifying when you can somehow sneak in those wins. And today we got the none other than the Red Ace deck. Been enjoying it. It's been so much fun. I do run a little bit different of the traditional build that's kind of been running around. It's more event heavy and really uses that stage. And I've really been liking it. I think this effect that allows him to use the events as basically a 1K counter is really useful, and it really makes those events have additional value to them. So let's get right into it. Starting off with our searchers and our starters. You got the fore Ezo. Most of your deck, really is Whitebeard Pirates. So on her search, you're going to see value on it every single time. Whether it be an event that you desperately need or another character, maybe a 2K counter or something along those lines, it really just helps out and really provides that consistency that we want to see. Next, another one of us, we have the Otama. Because we run on so many events that rely on reducing or having a certain amount of power, the Otama is such a great utility card where it reduces the power and then we're able to activate some of those events that really KO those characters. Some of the other searches we have, it is event heavy, so we do run the 3 Buggy. I know you're thinking, you're like, hey, if it's a event heavy deck, wouldn't Buggy be at 3? It's great, or wouldn't you want it at 4? It's a great card. It really searches out those events, and like I said, adds that consistency that Ezo does. But Buggy is not searchable, and nothing hurts more than when you're using your searches, either your Whitebeard Pirates event or the Ezos, and you just see a bunch of Buggies. So I think 3 is the perfect number for it. Another cards we run here too. Put this off to the side. We run the 1 Marco, obviously, the blocker. It's such a great card, able to recycle it and bring it back so many times. And since we can't run more of them, I decided to go with Fosa as the additional blocker. It's good. Also provides a counter in hand too as well. So it seems like a lot of people are also doing that too to replace that Marco that we kind of lost. Jozu. Another great 2K counter. I really rarely bring this guy out for his ability, just for that 2K counter, which is huge, and it's searchable, like I said, off Ezo. So having it and being able to search it out in those moments that you really need it, huge. And then kind of top it off with another one cost character, Machina. We run a lot of one-ofs in our one drop characters in the deck. So Machina kind of makes them so that the Buggy or the Ezo kind of has additional swing value too. So let's go with these. It's kind of our larger characters that we kind of run at. We do play the 3 Marco 5-drop. It's a really good card. Has the 1K counter as well as the on-play effect to KO. So it's just, there's lots of value in that too. I do only run 3 of these. I know a lot of people tend to run 4, but I think 3 is the right number for it. It's great to see kind of later on in the game, but kind of opening up with this isn't the best, right? We do run the 2 Rush Luffys and the 3 Rush Aces. The Luffys, sure, they're not searchable, but just being able to have an additional Rush just really helps out, especially at that 5-drop cost. Sometimes, when you're popping the board, with the different events that we run, sometimes you just need an extra swing, and I think the 5 cost is good. You could swap these out for the 3-drop Rush Zoros as well too, but I really like the 5-drop just because that additional ability to swing and prevent the blockers from activating has come up plenty of times. Ace, I love it at 3. I think it's great. It's searchable. When you need it, you'll see it typically. You don't really typically want to open up with it, but that ability to reduce the characters, 2 different characters by 3K is huge. That paired up with the Fire Fist, that paired up with the Sea Quick, whatever it may be, it's fantastic. And being at 7, it's wonderful because then you still have 3 Dawn that you can kind of use for utility plays. And we do run the 1 Edward Newgate for a 9-drop. It's great. Sometimes you do need to be able to swing because if you don't have any, if their cost is just way too high. Sometimes having that, that 9-drop Newgates can be able to clear those boards. Now on to all the events. We do run 20 events. It does sound a lot. It's 40% of the 50-card deck, but I think it's the right amount. I think if anywhere more than that, you're going to see too many. Anything less than that, you're not going to see enough. And like I said in the beginning, having the events, just adds extra utility because it can also play as a 1K counter for for Ace. So to start off, we do play the 3 striker stage. A lot of deck profiles don't run it. I think it's great because adds that utility, being able to search out all the events because we run so many of them. And then once it's on field, I like to just hold on to these and hand them as counters, right? Or even use them if I ever need to pitch something. It can be for that reason as well too. So another event, 1 Radical Beam. It's a great card. If you're running red, every red deck seems to be playing Radical Beam, right? Fantastic, great utility. We do run the 3 Seaquake. Like I said, paired up with Ace, paired up with Otama. There's just so much value with it. It's a pop. It's a 1-drop pop. It's just, it does what it needs to do. Clears boards, right? So if any deck that you're playing, maybe like a Rush, Rush Zoro, maybe not Rush Zoro, but Red Green Law, right? They have a lot of those 1-drop characters. It's great for popping those so that they can't shambles. Another one is the 1-drop or the Whitebeard Pirates. It's we only run 3. We do run a lot of Whitebeard Pirates cards, but at the same time too with the Luffys and then with the Buggies and all the other different utility cards, the Makino, Otama. Sometimes if you run it at 4, I think that's just too many because sometimes you won't see those. You won't even see the Whitebeard Pirates cards. So I think 3 is a great number for that. Next is the Crossfire. We do run it at 3. Then kind of like going back and forth, running 3 or 4. I think 3 though has been great for me. It works as a counter event and also as a event that you can activate during your turn. Reduces the a character by 4K. So like I said, this with the Seaquake or this with any of the other events, it's huge. You're able to clear boards, which is awesome. And then also too, you can use it during as a counter as well. So lots of utility with that. We do run the Heart and Soul of the deck right here, which is the Fire Fist. Right, great card. 3-drop works well with the Ace. You can let you pop 2 characters. Right, with the Ace, you can reduce them by 3K. Just so much utility. Such a great card. If I could run more copies of it, I would. I love seeing it in my hand. I love searching for it. Right, and like I said, with the events, since you run so many events, trashing an event really feels like nothing. So yeah, great card. Love it. And then we do run the 2 Flame Emperor as well. Flame Emperor, if you're running Ace, I think you're doing your deck a disservice if you're not running the Flame Emperor. It's such a great card. You can pop an 8K and also gives your guy double attack and also gives your character an additional 3,000. That's giving you 3 things, right, for a 7K cost. And paired up with the Otama or the Crossfire, there's just so much utility. Usually I'm saving these. Obviously you don't want to see it early on, which is why I have it at 2. But saving these for those high drop cards that your opponent's playing, or just using it as, and like I said, if you get it early on, if you trash it, oh well, but if you need it to trash it, you can, right? So I think it's a great card, and like I said, I think you're doing your Ace deck a disservice if you're not running it. But yeah, so that sums up the video for the most part. You guys have any recommendations? This is still in the works. I've been enjoying the build that I have, but if you guys have any recommendations, I know a lot of people. Some people run the round table, some people run the curly Dadan or whatever. So still looking around. So yeah, drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. So next we're going to be doing some gameplay with it, just to see, and I'll be able to narrate over just what my thought process is, and also being able to go over the cards that I'm going to mulligan, and just kind of get an idea of that. So tune in. Right now I'm going to be playing against GLG Dan's Red Green Law. This is a pretty decent matchup for me, only because there's so much KO power within this deck, so it really makes it tough for GLG Dan to do his shambles play that he has. So going into the match, I'm thinking, I really gotta KO a lot of his characters in order to make it a little bit more difficult for him to work around. Right away, just thinking of, the opening hand that I'm be getting. We're deciding right here who goes first, through these dice roll, we're going to see, I lose. Oddly enough, GLG Dan decides for me to go first. I think his deck just plays better on an even curve, so not too, I'm kind of thankful in that case, because a lot of my cards, as you saw in the deck profile, are on that odd curve with the one cost cards, a lot of them. So right away, you'll see my opening hand. I'll show us it. You're looking at, let's see. Let's take a look here. So in my hand, you see that it is 2 Fire Fist, 1 Machina, 1 Otama, and then 1 Izo. Really good hand. It's a low cost of a hand, but I'm really liking that Otama plus that Fire Fist. as well as that Machino and that Ezo, being able to boost up that Ezo to make it actually have some swing power, and then also that Ezo Search, especially going first. So I'm liking my hand, decided to keep it. Can't really ask for a better one, honestly. Being able to see those Fire Fists, like I said, just super important. Being able to have that KO power against GLG Dan, because he's going to try and flood his board up with those one-cost characters. So go ahead. We start off with that Ezo, like I was mentioning, for that starter. Go to the Searchers. We look at our hand. It looks like it is a Luffy, Crossfire, Marco, and the Jozu. So we decided to kill with the Seaquake because, like I said, he puts out a lot of low-cost characters with also low attack power, so that Seaquake is going to be huge for us. So he decides to go down, put that Curly to Dan. He's doing a little searching. Let's see here. Yeah, so he's trying to decide what he's going to add here. Like I said, the KO power is just huge in this. We really need it with all these low-cost characters that he keeps putting down. So he's trying to decide exactly what he's looking to add. I think he added the Nami on that. So looking at it, like I said, we're just trying to feel him out, see what he's doing, get an idea of that, just while also keeping our just understanding exactly what we need to do for in order to get some stuff going, right? So we decided to play that 2-drop Fosa, get that blocker out. It's great to have. What's really scary about GLG Dan's deck is once it gets going, starts ramping up and everything like that, it's a threat to be reckoned with for sure, right? So you can just easily drop out that Rush Zoro or any of his other Rush cards right away to really just put a threat up. So I think having that Fosa out there is just really important. So we decided to swing. We bump up that Ezo to swing, and then we also just swing for 5k with the with the Ace. So he decides to eat up the one from Ezo, and then also counter out of the one from Ace. So Dancer, and that ends up being my turn. So then Joji Dan's going to go. Looks like he has a lot of resources and a lot of those one-cost characters. So he decides to just swing right at the Machino. I think that was a good cause on or a good idea on his end. So what he does now is he uses that Ezo to rest my Fosa, and then he uses his Curly to Dan to swing over it. Good play on GLG Dan's part, just in order to remove it. My personal opinion, that's actually really good on my end, because that blocker really did what it needed to do. It took a hit. It caused him to have to extend a little bit in order to swing over it. So I'm not complaining. Nami's out, does his his thing where he adds a lot like a weirdo, and ends up adding that chopper. So our turn, get everything going, get everything all settled up. So right away, we're thinking, he has what next is the 7 or 6 Dawn turn for him, I believe. So we know that, after this, he's probably going to start doing his shambles plays. So we want to do what we can to try and make it more difficult for him by clearing his board. I'm sure me and him are talking about, some rulings or something like that. I'm not too sure. So it's my turn. So from here, I decide to play the Fire Fist just to clear out his Ezo and his Nami. Like I said, I just really am scared of that if him shambles in next play, so we want to be sure we try and clear it out as soon as we can, so that he won't be able to have the full 5 on the field. So he goes Ezo, bump her up to 5, and have her swing at the Curly to Dan, and then we have the Ace swing at the Trafalgar Law. So he decides to take it. So luckily for me, I was able to clear out his board. Makes it a little bit more difficult for him to play, like I said. He's going to have to either dump a lot of one-drop characters just to, have a full board again, which I'm sure that's what he ends up doing for us. So it just really puts him in a tough spot in order so that he can't really get full value off of his leader's ability. So he swings at me. I just take it. Just for 5k. I don't believe I had counters in hand at the time, or wasn't really looking to use that just in case, because I knew he was gonna try and get out a lot. So he gets out 2 Tony choppers, and then also they film Zoro on me. So right here at this point, a little nervous because that Zoro does have some high power, and then having just 2 blockers, makes it a little bit more difficult for my guys to start swinging at him too. So luckily for me, I know I have that second Fire Fist in hand. So it's something that I can get a little spicy with it. So I go ahead and play the Otama to reduce his Film Zoro, and then I do play that second Fire Fist that I had that I got from opening hand to pop the Film Zoro and then also the Chopper. So helps me out a little bit in order to be able to clear that blocker as well. And then I do play that Machina to bump up the Izo, and so that Izo has enough to swing. So Izo will swing, counters out of it. Then I'll bump up that Ace and have him swing at the Trafalgar Law, which he does what I was hoping he was doing. So he clears out, to clear out that blocker. Starting off, I'm still learning the deck, still trying to figure out exactly what the best play is, and just still learning the game as a whole. So if you guys have any ideas, maybe if I should have messed up somewhere, just let me know in the comments. Maybe do a little timestamp for me so I can look at it. We do look at the comments, always looking to see if you guys have any great feedback, and also if you guys have, any, maybe some rulings that we should know or something like that for cards too. So he does play the Izo, searches out the 5 cards, decides to add the Capone, right, that blocker. I do kind of forget that Capone is blocker at one point. You'll probably see it here later on. But yeah, that is all these blockers on top of just having these strong characters out. It really makes this red-green Law really a scary deck to play against. So he decides to clear that Machina once again. That Machina is a threat. It does bump up my 1-cost characters and gives them kind of some extra life. So he plays that Trafalgar Law, bounces back. We've seen it plenty of times, and swaps that out for the Capone. So get that blocker out. So he's getting lots of value off of that. And then sure enough, gets out another Bonnie and then turns it over to me. So as the turns go on, just that Trafalgar Law's ability just gets scarier and scarier because once he has plenty of Dawn to work with, he can just shambles in and out, doing the rush, shambling out into the Rush Zoro or any of his other scarier characters. So I try to clear up, like I said, my real goal is just using as many events as I can, just make it harder and harder for him so he can't get the shambles going right away. So it's kind of like you want to be able to slow down his momentum that he constantly builds, which with this deck, luckily, we're able to do that with all these events that we like to run. Like I said, for the we do run 20 events. So we decided to boost up the Izo and swing at the Trafalgar Law. I'm pretty sure I was hoping for him to block this, which is why I bumped it up to above 6. And I'm sure this is what GOG Dan's thinking. So sure enough, he decides to block it. At first, I'm excited, and then I realize he's countering out. So realistically, there's good enough value to put that card in rest to have somebody else maybe potentially swing at it, which I do right here. Oh, but then I remember, then the blocker Capone comes out and takes that. So like I said, definitely forgot about that Capone was a blocker, and sure enough, I took it. I believe at this point I had a Flame Emperor in hand that I was hard debating whether or not I should play instead of doing those shenanigans. And honestly, I think it was a good idea. I could have done the Flame Emperor to pop the blocker Trafalgar Law, but I guess he did have that Capone anyway, so he could have blocked out that double attack that I really wanted to do. So I really want to get full value out of the Flame Emperor in order to clear out this 2 life that he does have. So GOG Dan does his thing again where he keeps searching. He just digs through his deck. It's scary how consistent that is. And honestly, usually I try my hardest to try and clear those Bonnies as I can. But right now there's so many other threats on board that I have to deal with. So it's just annoying. So I decided to play a little Otama and then reduce my Izo's attack, getting her down to 0. And then it looks like he rests some Dawn and then plays that Zoro. So now I'm thinking right away, oh great, he has a full field. He could do his little shamble shenanigans on me, which is exactly what I was trying to avoid. But sure enough, I just didn't have enough events or didn't have enough clearing power in order to make it a little bit more difficult for him. I tried to in the beginning, but sure enough, he got the gas and started going. So he swings with the blocker Law. I take it, right? Just because I think more and more is going to be coming. Then he gets out the second Law, shambles his back to hand, gets out the Brook, boosts up his Law, swings again, and I take it again. There is Fire Fist in hand, and I'm debating whether or not to play it. But I'm thinking to myself, honestly, like, hopefully I can maybe get an Otama or something like that in order to reduce those blocker Law's ability in order to get full, being able to pop 2 versus just 1, right? I do end up deciding to play the trigger effect of Fire Fist to pop the to pop the Zoro, just because the value on it, I don't want to bank on having to draw an Otama or drawing on a card that reduces some sort of attack, right? So I decided, basically if I were to have gone, even if that card, it could have just popped that card and then a blocker. So I thought, why not not make it a chance thing and just go with what I know it'll work, right? Not to mention, I wasn't sure if I had an additional event in hand to be able to even play the Flame Emperor to begin with. So it was definitely risking a lot for what could have been, what could have been successful or what may not. Resting 7 to play that Flame Emperor. I see that character, one of his blockers is rested, so this is a perfect opportunity in order to swing with that 8,000 ace. And I think in hand he has 2 cards in hand, so I know, hey, there's no shot that he can be able to counter out of this. And he has no Rested Dawn, so I'm thinking, go big or go home. So I was able to pop that Trafalgar Law, and then now we're going to try and swing and get that double attack going. So we double attack, sure enough, it lands. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here we go. We got that 2-0 lead, baby, and we're going in. So at this point, I'm thinking, can I go for game? Do I have enough in the tank to push it forward, right? Pretty sure at this point I do make a mistake. Sure enough, it happens. So, hopefully it doesn't cost me the game here, but we'll see. So I rested on, play the buggy, just searching for more events. It's our favorite things to be looking for here. So we search our cards, and sure enough, we decide, have an idea of what we're looking at here. Looks like we're thinking of the Crossfire. So huge value on that. Being able to reduce a character for the entire turn, mind you, right? This is where I kind of forgot, all right? Even GLG James makes mistakes, believe it or not. So for the entire turn, Crossfire works, right? So on this point, I don't realize that. So I'm thinking, all right, save it for something big, right? So he Ezos, does his little search thing for the millionth time. I'm surprised it hasn't reached the, he hasn't really full-on cycled through his entire deck. He puts the Law. So at this point, an expert player would think, okay, he's gonna probably do his little shambles shenanigans, get out that Trafalgar Law, restand his character, which more than likely is gonna be that blocker Law, right? So you'll see here what I do and decide to do, and I blunder in the thought process of it, but we'll see. So he decides to Rested Dawn, playing that Nami that we oh so much hate, being able to place that Rested Dawn just to swing for more power. So he decides to swing at me for, I think, 8. And at this point, we're thinking, should we play the Crossfire? And sure enough, spoiler, we should have. All right, if you are in this situation and you don't play the Crossfire, I'm going to jump to the screen and beat you across the face, myself. Okay, because you need to. I don't know what I was thinking. I needed to stay, because look, he's doing it again. He's doing it again. And did I Crossfire? No, I counter out of it. Why did I do that? Tell me. GLG James, figure it out, all right? So now I'm thinking, oh crap, now he swings with a leader. Crossfire does not work on a leader, right? So sure enough, he goes again, does his shamble shenanigans, restands the leader. So he swung with that blocker Law 3 times. And finally, I pull my head out of my, behind, and I decide, play the darn Crossfire. So I play it. Luckily, I lived. I'm at 0 life now, on the edge of my seat, about to pee myself, nervous as can be, palms are sweaty, there's pit stains on my shirt. I'm freaking out. I do draw this Luffy, and I'm thinking, okay, let's just, let's play the Luffy, let's do that, let's, do all these other shenanigans, and I think to myself, wait, he's at 0 life, he has 4 cards in hand, no active Dawn, it should be a no-brainer. Sure enough, I figure it out, and I put it under ace, swing for 10, or swing for 15, and he tries to make me feel bad, but he doesn't have enough, so then I win the game. Guys, when I say play the darn Crossfire in that situation, I mean it, man. I almost lost this entire game because of it. Sure enough, luckily, he didn't have enough to counter back, because if he did, and I lost that game, I probably would have never done another gameplay review or deck profile from here. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, but more importantly, share with a friend. And also, GLG Gaming,